Hello, everyone, and welcome to In the Know 360, show hosted by me, Annette, the warm hearted warrior diva. This show gives you insights on the journeys of high achieving business owners and music artists who share with the audience the importance of building a strong community of like minded individuals on the road to greater success. And today's show is very special. It's a collaboration between In the Know 360 and Dr. Eugene Hayes. He is a colleague of mine, and we both retired from the PHS, the U.S. Public Health Service Commission Corps. I'm going to talk about him a little bit, and then we're going to proceed on to the questions.
Oh, okay.
So, Dr. Eugene D. Hayes is a distinguished professional with over 24 years of experience in the public health service. Retired after leaving a remarkable legacy in public health, general medicine, healthcare administration, mental health, and substance abuse prevention. He has since ventured into entrepreneurship with the Hayes Family Enterprises LLC, offering consulting, mentoring, and investment services. Dr. Hayes also founded Future First Incorporated, an independent coaching and consulting firm dedicated to empowering families and guiding children towards success, focusing on college preparation, which I need your help on that, personal development, career, and business planning. Welcome, Dr. Eugene Hayes. Woo!
Thank you. Thank you. It's so good to be here. And it's good to see you again. It's been so long.
I know. I think the last time I saw you was at Tucson, Arizona, right? No. It was, I think, after or before. Anyway, it was for the COA,
Yes.
Commissioned Officer, our symposium. So everyone, we used to have a symposium for public health service every year. And so I met Dr. Hayes, pre-doctor. That was in our younger days in Tucson, Arizona. I think Dr. Carmona was there.
Yes.
He's a Surgeon General retiree. And I don't know if did you do the 5K that day?
I did, unfortunately.
Okay. Oh, okay. I remember. I think I did the 5K too. So
I've stopped running since, though.
me too. I do the walk, around the
Yes.
neighborhood, or the recumbent bike, which is
Yes.
my friend.
Now my sons picked up the 5Ks and they do those, and I live vicariously through them.
Oh yes, of course. Our babies are like the best, right? We get to say, "Come on, we're like their cheerleader."
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, besides all the accolades that I've mentioned about you, sir, who is Dr. Eugene Hayes?
So, well, to answer that question, uh, the most efficient way, like I am someone who enjoys serving, period. So whether it's serving the country, serving the community, or serving other people, it's kind of what I've been doing my entire career, my entire adult life anyway. Um, One of the things I think that most uh, says anything about me really is that, you know, when you come into the court or into the military, you like to move up the ladder. But I always wanted to move up the ladder and bring everybody else with me. So if that says a little bit about me, I love mentoring. That's one of the top things on my list. And if I'm able to mentor and bring people and let them be their best selves, that's where I love to be.
Oh, okay. Well, service is always great, and I have the same thing too. I love to bring everybody with me along the
Yes,
way. It's teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Yes.
And it takes a village to raise a child and an
Yes.
adult
Yes.
because we're still children. You know what I mean?
Sometimes, acting like children is fun.
Right. Well, could you share with us some of the key milestones or highlights from your 24-year of in the public health service, and what motivated you to pursue a career in public health?
Wow. So, um, my career was actually split between the Navy and the public health. So the first 10 years or so I spent in the Navy, but some milestones, uh, delivering babies. That's how I started off my career in the Navy. And that was probably the biggest milestone, one of the biggest milestones in my career. Contributing to mental health and the mental health units in the Navy as well. My deployment to Guantanamo Bay, that was
Wow.
that was interesting. We were doing psychological services at the detention facility down there, and then of course, the milestones that where you met me, becoming a commissioned corps officer, uh, and then getting promoted to commander, of course, retiring, and then leading policies and initiatives aimed at addressing public health disparities. That was that was fun. It's been fun. It's been mental health and substance abuse prevention. It's been during COVID and manufacturing the COVID kits, and all those things are kind of key milestones. But I think the biggest milestone for me personally is mentoring. Throughout my
Mhm.
career from the start, it's been mentoring. So um, I've had the privilege of bringing on officers, helping officers achieve what they wanted to out of their careers. And that to me is the biggest milestone of my career, is being able to do that mentoring piece to help people make rank, to help people get jobs, to help, to help, I guess. And then you had asked another question. It was the motivation, I think it was, to becoming to a public health career or something.
Yes.
Okay. So I have to be honest. Initially, I was just motivated to do healthcare, uh, and then I found out about the public health service when I was at the Naval Medical Center, and
Mm.
from that point on, it matched my passion to want to provide uh, healthcare on a larger basis to the public, and it really meshed well with the ability to serve, to continue to serve. So being a public health service officer was a wonderful fit for my career, for my next career projection after that Navy that Navy stint.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for sharing that, and I'm sure everyone appreciates your support, even through during PHS with the whole mentoring business, and still carrying on with your your mentoring as well.
Trying
Um,
to.
right? No, we're doing. We're not trying today, Dr. Hayes.
Yes,
We're
yes,
doing.
yes.
So, transitioning from a distinguished career, right, in public service to entrepreneurship is quite a leap. What inspired you to embark on the journey of entrepreneurship, particularly with the Hayes Family Enterprises LLC and Future First Inc.?
Well, there, to start this answer off, I you can do multiple things at the same time. So even while I was in the public health service, I had my OGE 450, for everybody who knows that's an outside activity form, filled out so that I could start creating these things while I was still in the Corps. So uh, it was addressing gaps that I saw,
Hmm.
empowering individuals and communities, um, either either through these companies or in combination with some of the other community activities that I was doing, uh,
Mhm.
like the VFW. And then if you if you know me, then you know that I don't like to see anybody struggle. So it was a powerful inspiration was drawn kind of from watching family members struggle. That was Hayes Family Enterprises, and then I, as a VFW vice commander, I present scholarships at the local awards ceremonies, and when you see, one or two kids, maybe a couple more, get a lot of awards, and then you see other kids and they only get one award, and you know that you can do more to help all of the kids, not just the kids on stage, but all of the kids actually achieve what that one or two may have done because they had the right guidance, or they had the right mentor, or their parents knew what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And sharing that information, I think, is crucial, because if parents don't know, then the kids obviously don't know, and then we get into a cycle. So those are kind of my inspiration for going into these entrepreneurial uh, journeys.
Wow. Yes, you mentioned it's quite interesting the gap of the public health disparities that are out here.
Mhm.
And so I believe the basis of what you've seen, you've incorporated into the businesses for like college prep and some other items. Are there any others that maybe I didn't read or know about? Maybe you could tell the audience if
Oh,
you can. I don't
absolutely.
know if you
So
can.
absolutely. So when we talk about the future first Inc., it's really committed to fostering personal and professional growth, kind of through tailored guidance and resources. So this is split up into five different categories. One being the academic supply outlet. This is where my wife and our family have developed tools to help our own children get through high school. And then we took all these tools and we put them in the academic supply outlet so that they were available to the general public. But, we need, I guess, the general public to know about them. But there are things like documenting extracurricular resources, college planning materials, uh, other academic tools, how to write letters of recommendation, uh, and other guides like that really, if you don't already know, you might not
Mhm.
be putting your best foot forward, and that scholarship you wanted might not come to fruition. Or uh, one of the things that's great about, especially this book that we just got done with, is that it doesn't just focus on college. It focuses on making the child well-rounded so that they're prepared for every possible opportunity that comes along. So you could want to go to college, you could want to go to trade school, you could want to go into the military, you could want to go straight to the workforce. But these concepts, principles, um, and strategies work for children to do any of those things, and that's kind of where I wanted to go. Is it would, especially with this new book for Future First, is that it's not about pushing your child into what you think is best for them. It's kind of feeling out where their strengths are and then building on those. Uh, in the company, we have some other pieces. Document preparation and mentoring services will be coming soon. Um, Document preparation just means that we will have some individuals working on or working with families to build letters of recommendation, to build scholarship packages, mentoring services. I just don't like the word coaching when I'm dealing with youth. So I used to be a soccer coach, and I just don't like the. It's more mentoring than it is coaching. Uh, then we have, which I hope to have up by the end of the summer, an online training portal
Mm,
where we hope to tackle skills that children don't learn in high school. So how
mm.
to manage your credit. So the and
Yes.
we tried to create them as 3 to 4 minute videos and consumable pieces of information that would let them know that this is what credit is, this is how credit works, this is why credit's important. But it's all video clips and things like that children are now used to because of YouTube
Right.
and TikTok and all the other good stuff. So I tried to
Yep.
put it in a format that would work for them as well. And then, believe it or not, the last piece of Future First is going to be the National Parent Leadership Network. And I'm hoping
Mm.
to build a network of parents across the country
Yes.
that where all these resources are available. and they can interact with each other to better the outcomes for their children. And then one day maybe we'll have a big conference, and we'll have In the Know 360 come and speak.
Oh, okay. That would be great. Actually, it's so funny that you mentioned that because um well, with my network, I can definitely, help out with in the support of this. There's a lot of stuff, and I won't mention it on this live, but a lot of stuff that are underway with
Hmm.
Inno 360. We partnered with Rebuild Your Lab. It's a nonprofit organization, and helping the community in multifaceted, from the homeless, providing shelter,
Hmm.
veterans. We're going to have a veterans department there, of course. And then with the education, I mean, it's just a whole lot. The
Yeah.
education piece, I think that's where you would come in. I'm already like 20 miles down the road with my think tank hat. But trust me, and the way the world is going now is, through AI, and we
Hmm.
have to we keep track, or uh I'm tongue twisted today, with our kids, because like the internet, just everything is done online, to be quite honest with you.
Yes.
And that's the route we're moving into, so we have to facilitate it to better educate our youth, even the adults, right?
Yes.
Because we're still learning all these different software applications that are
Hmm.
out there, and I'm having fun with it, but I'm still like behind the curve
Yeah.
on learning.
Absolutely. Well, and just imagine being the parent who wasn't in the PHS and who didn't go to college, but still wants the best for their child, but they don't know how to get them there. That's where that this book comes in. It's kind of just big. I have a whole thing about talking about the book, but it's basically just a big reference book on. You look at the table of contents for the chapter that you want, or for the topic that you want. You go to it, and you pull out what works for your family. Like that's the key, is getting the information into the hands of the people that can use it the most, I think.
Yes, most definitely. I'm just so happy that you're here on live with me, because it feels good to know, like, you've been my colleague. I know we've talked throughout the years, but
Mhm.
it's just so nice to actually know somebody that has walked the path that I've walked in retirement. Now this is a whole brand new transition. It's like being
Yes.
reborn or something.
You get to have fun and do things because you want to do them.
That's right.
That's the key, is you're doing things not because somebody else wants you to do them, but because you want to do them now.
Right. And no more deployments when you're going to Bahamas or what have you.
Yes. 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 That
You
was
can
that
you
was
can put you can because you can put your phone on DND, do not disturb.
absolutely.
Oh gosh, this is too funny. Okay. So the next question is, Hayes Family Enterprises LLC
Mhm.
seems to encompass a wide array of ventures, from consulting to mentoring and investments. Can you elaborate on the guiding principles behind this multifaceted business, and how you leverage your expertise to benefit your clients?
So, Hayes Family Enterprises, really, it was created with a few things in mind: the belief in the strength of unity within our family, um, the promotion of family success. Um, we believed when we were operating that innovation was driving the force behind our practices. We did have a commitment to evidence-based decisions, and then
Mhm.
kind of leveraging the diverse experience of the entire family uh, to provide different companies. So it was called an enterprise because it had different companies within it. So it had a food division and a housing division, and some other opportunities for family members who had expertise in those areas to kind of jump in and help out the family. So the family basically was putting in, and then we would grow all together. That's the basic concept, is that we put in and then we grow based on these businesses.
Mm, I love that concept. It's a global type of enterprise, it seems.
Mhm.
Um, Future First Incorporated focuses specifically on empowering families and guiding children towards success, particularly in the areas like college preparation, personal development. Um, what motivated you to establish this particular organization, and what impact do you hope to achieve in its initiatives?
So this was really created in an effort. Uh, the entire company was created in an effort to help youth and parents and companies, really. But it came from a personal passion for mentoring. Then recognizing the need, and then subsequently, uh, some of my own personal experience with success with mentees and success with my own children uh, helped drive this ideal to fruition. And then it all came to kind of a combination in the book, but then it became more. So the book is
Mm.
one piece, but now it's going to be a little bit more than just the book. So the book is kind of the base, and then you have all these offshoots that are coming from the book itself.
Oh, okay. Could you list like maybe three offshoots that you've gained um, as as you go along with your business from the book?
Oh, absolutely. So when 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 we're looking at the book, we're looking at book talks. We're looking at um, different shows and conferences that we can go to. There's a TikTok that I created to try to get the messages out to families and children and parents. And those are some of the offshoots. And then some of the divisions within the company were like the academic supply outlet, and then the coaching and mentoring
Hmm.
piece, and then the National Parent Leadership Network, which I think is going to be great when it gets launched. Is
Hmm.
uh, I'm hoping that it solidifies kind of where parents can go to get information that they need to move forward. And then the online courses, because I know my kids, if it wasn't for me teaching them about credit and teaching them about other things that schools don't teach,
Right,
then they might not have known, and they might have been in some sort of credit problem in college, or this or that.
right.
But these courses will hopefully help guide individuals into kind of maybe the start of a
Yeah.
conversation with their parents or with their children or with somebody else
Hmm.
who can mentor them, so that they don't have to make mistakes that somebody else has already made. They can just learn from those mistakes and move forward faster.
That is so true, and there's so many things that you have to teach your kids, such as,
Yes.
and even the minute things that kind of we're an autopilot, right? So we go to the grocery store, we go to the ATM machine, and we take this card out, and then you have to supply the cashier. I'm bringing it down to elementary level
Yeah.
because without us teaching them how to do these things,
Hmm.
they're lost, and this is a life skill. This is
Yes.
part of life that we have to, and it just dawned on me because my oldest, I took him to the store, and he had to learn how to utilize the ATM cards or what have you, and I showed him how to do it, and
Mhm.
you know so that I started him young in order to facilitate this lifestyle,
Yes.
because without that nugget, I mean, who's going to teach them? So
And that's the key.
not only the financial aspect, right? Well, we see the numbers, but the actual physical act of doing it.
Yes. And that's key. You started early, and that's one of my first principles, is start early. And this doesn't, I mean, it's not just one topic or two topics that principle applies for, but it's everything. We started our kids off with ATM debit cards when they were in middle school, because we thought it was best for them to learn that responsibility early, and then move them into, well, here goes your first credit card. Now, this is how you use your credit card. And if you're irresponsible with your credit card, this is what happens. So, yeah, there,
Right.
like I tell you, the planning that went into it, it seems like it's arduous, but the planning that goes into setting your child up for success uh, can't be uh, mistaken, or it can't be neglected, because really you're setting them up for an entire life
Yeah.
when 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 you if you don't do those things, like if you didn't teach your son how to use that card, it might have set him up for
Right.
failure later, and that's
Right.
not where we want to be.
Right. Exactly. For sure. No, generational wealth is where it is.
Yes.
And that goes with the mental health as well, because finance, wealth, and finance, they're like peas in a pod.
So, to believe it or not, there's a list of quotes in the book, and I'm trying to find the one that I use for that. But I'll basically go over it just in brief. It's your quality of life. This is me talking to a child. Your quality of life is your parents' income. So if you take your parents or guardians' income and you combine those, that's your quality of life. So when you're looking at what college degree to get, when you're looking at going into the military, when you're looking at all these things, if you take that number and then look at degrees that will get you that job, or look at jobs that will get you that same quality of life, or you have to recognize that you're either going to have a higher quality of life, lower quality of life, or the same quality of life that your parents are already giving you. And
Mm,
that will hopefully help them rationalize, well, I don't need a degree in basket weaving because that's not going to give me the quality of life that I want.
right.
Because there's a lot of high aspirational dreams, and I'm not saying you can't minor in those things and you can't go for those things at the same time. I'm saying that can't be your only track, because if that's your only track and you don't get there, then where's your quality of life at?
True. Unless they make all those baskets and sell it online on Etsy, or scale your business. See, that's the whole entrepreneurial
Yes,
skills
yes,
that I'm talking. Hey, then do it, right? Like, there's a lot of 20-year-olds out here that are millionaires now. So if
absolutely,
they can do it,
absolutely, and
right?
that just goes back to, if it gives you the quality of life that you want,
Right?
then move forward with it. But know that that's the quality of life that you might get. Have a clear understanding of where you might end up, or where you're going, because I see so many children get to the end and they're like, well, now I can't get a job, or now I am
Mm,
only making this much money, or now, like, well, maybe I should have did it this way, or maybe I should have did it the other way. And I'm like, well, now you kind of just have to move forward from where you're at, and
mhm.
you can still use the quality of life piece of where you want to be, like what quality of life you want to help you move forward. Because I tell you, some of these things are a little more difficult when you graduate. So one of the TikToks I'm about to do is basically on that particular quote.
Mm. I love it. I love it. Yeah, like I said, it goes into the whole mental health aspect, and then the mindset aspect, and the meditation, and
Mhm.
we could talk all day long, Dr. Hayes. But I'm going
Yes.
to go to the next question.
Okay.
Um,
Absolutely.
Given your extensive experience in public health, how do you see the intersection between public health initiatives and entrepreneurship? Are there any challenges or opportunities that you've encountered in bridging the two domains?
Uh, just thinking off the top of my head, it's especially for Future First, it's really critical that public health does cross our kind of subsection of the particular topics. Now, when most people think of education, they don't think of education as a public health uh, problem, but the lack of education has been linked to uh, lower life expectancies, and
Mhm.
that for me is an issue, one that we can tackle with helping kids, and not really helping kids get to college, but just I think that the statistic is just graduating high school helps increase
Mhm.
your your life expectancy. So the cross between public health and entrepreneurship is really the ideal that we can use these companies to help improve the outcomes, the life outcomes of individuals across the community. And
Mhm.
that for me is, it's kind of, you get that, we in the Navy we called it a warm fuzzy, a Bravo Zulu, but you kind of get that warm feeling when you're able to talk about things like that.
Mm. Yes, most definitely, and it's a really interesting transition because I'm still a babe to this whole transition, and thinking about the hey, I don't have to worry about next month. I'm getting paid from public health services. I'm getting the check. I'm getting a monthly check in the mail. It gets cut though when you retire. So
Oh boy, doesn't it?
like, and then the co-pays, and then all these other things that we were privy to. So uh, yeah, it's a huge awakening.
Yes,
But with that being said, I mean, for me personally, I think time for me is most valuable in
yes,
life. Money, you can always regain the money, but time, when it's lost, it's lost. You can't regain that. So.
absolutely. We just heard, we were watching a TV show, and they said the band's worst enemy is time,
Hmm.
and that resonated with me because time is precious. Um, so I was diagnosed with MS in 2015, and it's treated now and kind of calm, but my wife has MS as well, and we try to do everything that we can while we can. And that's one of the things that I generally say is, you might see me teaching a class here, or writing a book over there, or working for the federal government over there, or doing some other things for the family here, but it's all because, no, not to be cliche, but tomorrow's not guaranteed. Well, when you face a condition, tomorrow's definitely not guaranteed, and you just try to I just try to get everything done while I still have the capability of doing it.
Yes. I'm sorry to hear of that. I was tracking as well, even though we haven't been corresponding every
Mhm.
day, but I was grateful that everything was on a amend, and that look at you now. I
Yes,
mean, you know what I mean? So prayers up,
yes,
most
thank you,
definitely.
thank you.
And yeah, um, so like everything that you've done is such an inspiration, from SAMHSA, from the Navy to now, your book, and we're still going because I have a lot of projects in mind, like I said, but we'll talk about this offline, not here in the live. But, so in your opinion, what are some of the key factors that contribute to the success of the entrepreneurial venture, especially in the fields of consulting and mentoring, where expertise and credibility are paramount?
So, three things, three really important things: strategic planning and adherence to a checklist. I am completely type A. So the ideal of planning everything out, and then having a plan B and a plan C, maybe even a plan D, and then creating checklists out of those plans, and then just kind of going through so that you don't get overwhelmed,
Yeah.
because this is overwhelming sometimes, right? Building trust and credibility through demonstrated expertise is another thing. Like, once you have the expertise, once you have those credentials, building that trust and credibility throughout the community, throughout the population that might be purchasing your book, or using your website, or watching your live, like those, that's invaluable. And then kind of emphasizing continuous learning throughout every process, and the adaptation to remain competitive, uh, I think are the keys to success, or I
For
hope they
sure.
are.
No, I think so. Yes. And it's funny that you mentioned a checklist because I'm still old school. I have my
Yes.
check, check my box is next to. It's so funny. Shout out to retired Colonel Alan Boykin. I learned the whole check boxes. He's a he's an Air Force retired colonel, and I was like, "Sir, why are you putting boxes next to what you're writing?" He said, "So I can check it off."
Yes.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
and ever since then, I just started doing it.
It makes
Um,
you feel really good when you get it, when you get a box checked off. For me, it does.
yes, it
And then
does.
if I ever get stuck, this is for everybody watching. If I ever get stuck on my checklist, then I just make basically sub boxes for those major topics. So it could be
Yeah,
something as easy as, planting a plant, but under that checkbox, under that list, because I'm now stuck, I might say, get the dirt, get a shovel, get this, get that. And then I'm just checking things off, and I'm starting to feel good about it. I'm like, yes, I'm getting something done.
yeah, that is so true. But you know what? I never thought of you as a type A. Like,
Oh, oh yeah.
yeah, nah. I think I thought you. I always thought of you as laid back for some
I,
reason. You just have this demeanor.
well, thank you, thank you. I want to be more like that. I'm gonna try it.
There you go. There you go. But you know what's so crazy? The military is just ingrained in us, so we can't really help that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just part of our core.
Yes.
So, with Future First Incorporated, you're dedicated to assisting young individuals in their career and personal development. What strategies and approaches do you employ to ensure that your programs effectively meet the needs of today's youth? Because now we have what, generational A, or I don't know where we are on the on the map.
Yes. It so. Yes, we are definitely not with Generation X anymore, but but um, so tailoring programs to current societal issues, and youth needs in high school is
Right.
is something that we work through as a family, and really it all draws from what we did as a family period, and then what I've done with mentees over time. So my mentees weren't always commissioned corps officers or GS employees. They have been uh, youth soccer players and youth high school students, college students, and the like. And it's been wonderful. And to get started, the base of these strategies, or actually all of these strategies, are kind of listed in and talked about and discussed, and how you can
Mhm.
implement for yourself in the book. A plug: the book is called Unlocking Your Child's Potential: Planning and Nurturing Well-Rounded Development in Our Children Through High School. So it published, what, April 1st of this year. It's 492
Hmm.
pages, so I don't expect anyone to read it in one sitting, but uh, you can really get to some of the strategies that work for us and for our family. And the reason I go back to our family is because and I use the three boys that I have, is because they through high school, they were able to do and experience so much. And I wish more
Mm-hmm.
kids were able to do and experience those same things. So, like playing multiple sports at the same time, or
Mm-hmm.
volunteering everywhere. So each one of the boys had 400 hours of volunteer service over the
Mm-hmm.
course of their high school career. But one of the things that I found, especially for that, is if you plan out those volunteer experiences, uh, starting in ninth grade or eighth grade, and you do an hour every Saturday, then you wind up
Mm-hmm.
with 4 or 5, 600 hours by the end of it. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not dedicating 12 hours on a Saturday and then, you know, but if you plan out little things along the way, you come up with this massive list of things that you've been involved in and people you've been exposed to. And my children were benefited from that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things my wife and I had our kids do was get their associate's degrees before they graduated high school, and that opened so many
Mm-hmm.
doors. The dual enrollment piece was critical to some of their success, but I believe I digress because I get off topic sometimes.
It's okay. It's okay. No worries. Yeah, I think that yeah, you pretty much covered it. You were mentioning like soccer parents and the community as a whole.
Mhm,
You got that you got to network with a whole bunch of different people outside of the government, outside of the
mhm,
military, and that kind of translated into the future of your kids. So
mhm.
at least that's what I got from it.
Absolutely. And then if I could talk about the book a little bit, I mean, this thing
Yeah.
has gotten 2 awards in the last since it's been published. One International Impact Award and one Independent Author Award in Parent and Family and Psychology, Parent and Family. So like I feel like the information within the pages is beneficial not just for my family, but for other people who could use those same strategies to get their children to where they want them to be as well.
Yeah. That I mean, it sounds great. It sounds like the impact of the book, like it says, it unlocks, excuse me, your mind, your mental state of mind, and where you are and where you would like to go. And like a deep dive. Look, I know a bunch of voice actors. I know a bunch of that can narrate your book, maybe, or do some like audio
Yes,
podcasts. We can hook it up.
yeah,
Myself,
that's
I can help you out with that whole audio piece if you like.
absolutely that's one of the
But
things that the next steps. But it
yeah.
really is like so. One of the things that's in the book talk, the presentation, is having people really go through an exercise where they experience what I'm talking about. So imagine
Mhm.
yourself in a room, or imagine a child in a room filled with white light and doors circling them. Right now, those doors are all opportunities,
Yeah.
and it's our job as parents to then help them open every single one of those doors, because that's where we want our kids to be, with options, with those doors open. Because
Mhm.
if they don't have those doors, if they don't have those options, then they're kind of
Mhm.
pigeonholed into a certain direction. So like
Mm.
take for instance, even just taking your ASVAB, you might not ever want to go into the military, but if you take your ASVAB, the door is open. So that
Right.
if you want to explore that door, you can. But if you never take it, or if they don't offer it in high school or anything like that, then you're stuck. You don't even
Right.
know that's an opportunity for you. So I tell as many children as I can speak to, you open up as many doors as you can, and parents open up as many doors as you can for your kids, and then you have options at the end of the day, and you can walk through any of those doors and be fine. But without those options there, without those doors open, you're kind of stuck. That's where the quote came from, kind of. You know, the doors of opportunity are mark, push, and pull. Choose one. It really resonates or aligns with that whole experience that I'm trying to get across to people in the book talk. Is you know we open up as many doors as possible, and then our kids can flourish. But if we only
Right.
open up one or two doors, then our kids may flourish, they may not. And if we don't open up any doors, then where are our kids left
Right.
at?
That's no, I mean, you're speaking you're speaking facts. we we definitely need to have a lot of doors so they
Yes.
can walk through them and figure out, because I wish there was a guidebook. I mean, obviously they say the Bible is the guidebook for humanity, for us, for life,
Mhm.
but an actual guidebook step by step on how to navigate your life after you graduate from high school, because that's like the huge gap. I mean, seriously, right? From high school, I left when I was 17
Mhm.
and from home because I was like, yay, I'm going to go to college. And then nobody I had to learn it on my own,
Yes.
type of thing. So, and then the military. But yeah, there's that missing piece between 17, 18, and then like 21, 22, and when you're 25 you're pretty much, like, okay, what's going then you have another phase, right? It's
Yes.
25. So
Absolutely.
we definitely have to dive in, do a deep dive on another session with the book. What do you call it? I have a few more questions for you, but we can
Mhm.
still continue on with the book discussion because I'm really, really interested in this
Absolutely.
piece of.
Yeah.
We're almost done, I promise.
Okay. I'm here. I'm available. I'm having fun.
I didn't I didn't know like your time frame, so
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, let's answer these questions before you have to go.
Okay.
Um, so could you share a particularly memorable success story from your work with either the Hayes Family Enterprises LLC or Future First Inc. And how did your guidance or mentorship make a difference in the lives of your clients and many?
Awesome. So I think I can give you a couple,
Okay.
and then we can. Yes, absolutely. So when we acquired our first rental unit in Hayes Family Enterprises, that was one of the most memorable experiences of the company. We brought everybody together. We blessed the house. So it was this big thing because the family was all getting together in this entrepreneurial spirit. Um, for Future First, it's been a wild ride. It's been a fun, wild ride. But the book publication and associated awards, that, yes, memorable success stories. I was in the middle of a different state. Actually, I was in the middle of the ocean at the time when we got the first award, and I was like, "Oh no, how did this happen? What's going on?" Because it was a competition amongst authors, and you
Wow.
know, being just published, I didn't know if that would be even if my book would rise to the occasion. Uh,
Wow.
and then the whenever I feel or see one of our family quotes resonating
Yeah.
with children or with parents, it it it's always memorable. Uh, we had one of our one of our maintenance people come to the house, and his son was with him, and he was talking about college and all the other good stuff that he wanted to do, and I gave him that quote that we talked about earlier about this is your quality of life, and other, but it all resonated with him. Like he was able to rationalize the information I was giving him, and that felt so. That's for me. That's a success story.
Mm.
Now there are other ones where you talk about people making rank or uh, people getting into med school or people going to college and things of that nature. So there are a lot of success stories, but I really love it when something that I'm saying is you
Mhm.
can see it help people.
Wow. And, besides all the positive items that you've listed, for communities that are less fortunate, right, that are hit with like gun violence and
Mhm.
gangs, how do you, like, I guess, how have you had any instances with people that you worked with in that kind of or sort of situation, if you will? and
So
how, yeah.
the children that I've had experience, that I've had the opportunity to work with in uh, underprivileged areas, and even their parents, they want the same things for their kids that I want, and the kids want the same things. So when I'm able to speak to them outside of their environment, we're able to do a number of things, plan and all these other things. But then I have to send them back into the same environment that
Right.
that causes the issues. And that's probably the hardest part of working with individuals and communities as such, because we can't, or I personally can't change their environment. I can only help them plan for getting out or getting around, or getting to the next stage. But when you have to go back and you have to see that every day, and you have to live and experience that every day, it does take a toll on you,
Right.
parents and children.
Let me ask you this, Dr. Hayes. If, like, say, for instance, a nonprofit organization has the funds to help um, facilitate your work, right, and help the families that are in those type of environments, would you recommend for the nonprofit to do, to establish a better environment for folks that are in that um, underserved community, if that makes sense?
Absolutely. So one of the first things that I think of is getting the parents involved and educating them on how to improve and what the environment's doing to their children. Um, because without the parents being able to uh, impact their children at home, the children are less likely to be able to move forward past that environment. Is what I've seen a lot of. And the ones or twos that make it out of the environment that we're talking about um, are great, but I would love to see as many as can, or as many as want to achieve.
Right.
That's the real goal. Like when I talk about the book and advertising and things like that, it's leveling the playing field. But it's not just
Right.
leveling the playing field for those who have; it's leveling the playing field for everyone.
Mm,
So that's why I want the information out there, is because the information,
mm.
information is power and key and all the other good stuff. But if you have that information, then you can use it to level the playing field with people who already know, or who have been through this generation after generation.
So let me ask you this. I know I'm belaboring on this because this is a hot topic. Is dealing with such people in that situation, in these environments that they don't have a means to get out of, right?
Hmm.
So, say for instance, you have a single parent, single household, and I mean, I'm pretty sure you've read the statistics and you work with data all the time. Um, a single parent household, mom or dad has to go to a job, kids are left to fend themselves. They get caught up in this situation, right? Because of boredom or what have you, or peer pressure. How can you, if there's no regulation within that household, right? Head of household, and the kids are left to adult themselves, if you will.
Hmm.
What can you say to a parent that has enabled? I mean, it's not their fault for enabling because they're not educated in that sense to get help, or maybe I don't want to talk about it to my family or my friends, or what would they say about my family.
Hmm.
How can you reach them, or what would you say to these parents out here that are stuck, right, and they're not able to process um, the information? If the kid has, let's say, ADHD, autism, or spectrum, or what have you,
Hmm.
and the kid is in the gang, or you know that situation, but the mom still wants to keep the kid at home, obviously, but scared for her life. But she's still that's her kid.
Hmm.
How do you? I'm sure that you've had situations where it came to your desk and okay, this is interesting, like an interesting case. What would you say on that, or how would you help sort that out?
So I think that the key is, and I think you said it a couple times where you were talking. The key is the parental want to help,
Mm,
and that that want can drive the parent to success, can drive the want to get education or the want to, but the education knowledge has to be out there for them to get. So someone may want this information, however, it may not be there. So meeting the individuals where they are is one thing that can really help. Not not stereotyping individuals for their environment or for where they come from or for how they, those things can really help break some of those barriers down. Now, I if I had, you know, all the money in the world, it would be creating those programs for youth so that they don't get as distracted, so that they have a place that has good mentorship. I mean, I think the YMCA does a good job. The Boys and Girls Clubs do a good job of this very type of behavior, but they're limited in in scope, in the sense that they're limited in budget, and then the
right.
kids have to get there. So if the Boys and Girls Club is 10 miles from where the child lives and the parents working, as you suggested, then there's really no way for that child who might need that service to get there. So really meeting these individuals where they are
Mm,
is probably going to be the most beneficial thing that I think we could do.
yeah, and it does take more than a village to get that gap closed, for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely.
So, okay, moving on. Entrepreneurship often involves taking risk and navigating the uncertainties. I feel that. I just felt that.
Mhm.
um, can you reflect on a challenging moment or a setback you faced in your entrepreneurial journey, and how did you overcome it?
So a setback in Hayes Family Enterprises, we faced challenges with COVID when it first popped up, and having to draw down our services or our business practices, and then even having to shut down some of the divisions because
Hmm.
of that particular pandemic. So but
Hmm.
there's other smaller challenges that come along with entrepreneurship. Uh, where to go to get financing and where to go to do your website. I mean, there's all these little challenges that come along. But I think that I'll just go back to kind of where I was at before. Planning is the biggest part of this for me as an entrepreneur, is that I plan out everything, and then if it doesn't go according to the plan, then I just replan and then replan um, until it works out uh, in a favor that favors the company.
Okay. And do you, because we're always evidence based, right? That's what
Mhm.
we learn. But do you go by your intuition as well?
Uh, I will tell you, I do less on intuition and more on evidence base. Like basically the book is all evident. Future First is based on the things that I know work for multiple individuals. Um, the courses that I wanted to design or that we are in process of designing are all based on things that I know people are lacking. So
Hmm.
it's all that type of information that's not, I guess you could call it intuition, because I feel like people really need this information. And it's kind of risky because I don't know if anybody will ever visit the website and see the information that's out there for them, or read the book and get the information that I'm trying to give them. But you still take that chance because you want to help people at the end of
Right.
the
Yes, most definitely. Well, I'm sure that a lot of people after our live today will see how fantastic you are and how this book is definitely going to close the gap because we're counting on you, Dr. Hayes.
day. I'm hoping. I'm doing. You said don't hope, do. So I'm doing.
Yes, exactly. So, look, with that being said, looking ahead, right? What are
Mhm.
your aspirations for the future of the Hayes Family Enterprises LLC and Future First Incorporated? Are there, I know you mentioned some of the initiatives, projects maybe on the horizon, but uh, that you're, what are you particularly excited about?
So expanding the reach and impact uh, through our initiatives, I think is really fascinating. Like on TikTok, I grew from 33 followers to 2,000 followers. So like seeing these things, and
Wow.
then wanting to grow even further, increasing the number of book talks that I'm doing is also something that's an aspiration for the future, because I feel like if people hear the information, then they're more likely to absorb it, rather than me just putting out a bunch of advertisements saying, "Hey, here goes a great book. Go look at it." The book talk actually gets into why these things are important, and you know, it allows people to engage with each other and with me, and if my family comes, and my family as well, the boys, who some of the book is based off, the mentees. They're
Mhm.
so I actually have some mentees write things that are in the book. So they eat. I think I have three mentees, and they each have a section in the book where they get to talk about their experience. Um,
Hmm.
that whole first part of the book is like why I'm writing this, why I feel like I can give you this information. Like I wanted to give people confidence that I knew what I was talking about.
Right. Well, definitely have to get you in touch with Veterans Growing America. Donnell Johns, that's his name. He's a retired command sergeant major in the Army, and he created a community for veterans and their spouses and families to
Mhm.
network and to actually like entrepreneurs to sell their products and and services. And it's a really enriching like family affair. So I do correspond it with them when I can.
Mhm.
But I'll give you his information later. I just thought to mention that too because we could get your information
Oh,
to the
absolutely.
that veteran community.
Anything we can do to help out veterans and get this information out there is it's on my radar. Um, Launching additional website features, I think that's going to be that's an aspiration, but I think it's even more than an aspiration. It's gonna happen. Uh, One of the things I didn't tell you about is uh, I have an intern working on building an e-commerce portion of our site, and then when we get
Nice.
the National Parent Leadership Network up, those prices will be those products will be at cost. So it'll be products for each stage of schooling that parents go to stores and buy, and things like that we've seen that there's a need for, but they'll be
Mhm.
able to get them at price if we can get them if we can get those associated uh, business contracts in place. So I think that's going to be great for those parents who are part of the leadership network. That is something um, that I'm looking forward to. Uh,
Me
Continue,
too.
yeah. That, hey, saving money is always a good thing when you're a parent.
Yes.
And then
Well,
yeah, continuing to pioneer some projects that are addressing the needs in trends in youth development. I don't think that this book will be the end all be all, or that some of the things on the site as they stand now are the end all be all for what we want to do. I think that we're going to go. on and challenge and try to help people level that playing field. And then I told you that if we can get a conference together, that would be amazing one day.
I think we could. I think we can make it happen tomorrow. No,
It's,
not
need some more
tomorrow, but
planning.
probably in a couple months. I know, with probably a couple months, few months. We'll make it. We'll make it a quarter milestone, right? So
Yes.
I knew you would agree.
So yeah, that those are my aspirations, kind of for where I want things to go, and just expanding the reach of the book and the information
Right,
inside the book and on the website. I want as many people to have the opportunities that my kids had as
right.
possible.
Most definitely. So, with that being said, where do you find your inspiration?
Um, my wife is really my rock and my inspiration. So it all kind of strives from the family that we've created. So my
Hmm.
kids give me inspiration. Um, my wife drives that inspiration. Uh, and then uh, just the want to mentor has always been there. I mean, since I came into the military, the want to mentor and to help people and to teach people has just been
Hmm.
there. So why not continue it on now? Like, my kids have all graduated high school. Two of them have graduated college, and one of
Wow.
them's in college. So I could just stop and not give this information out that I have because I'm done, right? But I
Right,
really want that information in the hands of other people so that their kids can do the same.
right. For sure. Well, congratulations to the graduates and the soon to be graduate. And a major shout out to Mrs. Hayes because we both know who's behind the scenes, making
Yes,
sure everything is running smoothly.
yes, absolutely.
So, big shout out to her. Um, what was the best advice ever given to you?
Oh my goodness, that is such a look. Woo. Huh. What was the best advice ever given to me?
Yes.
Uh,
And don't look at your book. No, I'm teasing.
no, that's information I give out to other people. But I think the best piece of advice that was given to me is to be adaptable to every situation that comes. And the military really taught us that. Uh, but the mentors in the military taught us that being adaptable to every situation is key.
Mm.
And that's probably wow. That's an interesting question. I love that. I might steal that one.
Okay.
But no, being adaptable to every situation, I think is probably the most beneficial information or piece of advice that I've gotten because it's that flexibility that allowed me to maneuver through the military, that allowed me to maneuver through the PHS, and not get anxious or flustered or
Mm.
anything else. It was just kind of this is what's happening, and we have a mission, and we have goals and objectives, and we'll get those done. And being adaptable to change.
I like that. Being adaptable. I'm going to steal that from you too. Uh, borrow. Okay, borrow is a nice word.
But
Uh, so, what's next for Dr. Eugene Hayes, and what message would you like to give your audience?
oh boy, so uh, the next steps for me are really to continue promoting uh, this playing field that we're on being level, and then to continue mentoring as many as I can mentor and to get the message out to as many people as possible. Uh, what was that last part? I'm sorry.
No worries. What advice would you like to give
Oh,
your audience? Yeah.
well, we can start. I mean, we can end with the same way we started. Um, really, the doors of opportunity are marked push and pull. Uh, we have to choose one. And that's the advice that I give
Mm.
to all of my mentees. Like
Wow.
we have the ability to get these doors open. Just choose one and go through it after you open them all. And then one
Mm.
thing I told my core mentees is, who better than you? So they would be going up for promotion, they'd be going to a job interview, and when you are watching this, I'm hoping you're thinking in the back of your head, who better than me? Because, right, who better than you to do whatever you want to do?
Mm. Wow, those are really great nuggets. One thing that really, set me apart from my thought process just now is the push and pull, right?
Hmm.
Because some doors you can push open and some doors you can't push open, you have to pull open.
Hmm.
So that really got me to think, wow. Hmm.
Absolutely. I
So
love
what
the
do you
quote.
do? Do you just like keep see you have to see if it's a push door or a pull door. And then or maybe you just some people and this is probably a human thing or a knee-jerk reaction, but if you go to push the door and it doesn't open, it's like, oh well, or pull the door, it's closed, but it's not because you have to push it, right?
Yes, that's the exact key. Is that it could go either way. You could push or pull, but you still have to, choose one of those doors because it's opportunity behind each one of them. Choose one of those ways because it's opportunity.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of The Price is Right. I I love I know I'm dating myself. I used to love watching Price is Right. And they're like, would you like door number one or door number two or three? Which one would you
Absolutely,
like?
absolutely.
It's always door number three. No, I'm kidding. You know
Is that the
how
one
you
the
have the
car's behind?
ABC?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one the car's behind.
right. No, I don't know. I'm teasing. Um, well, is there anything else you would like to tell the audience before we close out, Dr. Hayes?
Uh, you can find the book on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Noble, or you can just go to my website, which we listed on the live, and it's cheaper there because the other sites mark it up a lot. But feel free to get your copy, and then my email is actually on the site, so you can email me with any questions of the book as well.
Wonderful. Gosh, I have so many questions. Um, that's what happens when you hang out with Dr. Hayes. So, with that being said, the link is also on the banner going across the page. If you haven't wrote it down, you can screenshot it or what have you, and definitely check him out. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment to view all the episodes on In the Know 360. This is streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And then I will add a reel to the Instagram feed along with uploading to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Let's continue to support the Unity for Social Justice. Let's free Monster Yo and everybody that needs our support. This has been a broadcast of showing love full circle between NNO 360 and Dr. Eugene Hayes. Salute.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir.